Welcome to the People's Real Estate Podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing the pros and cons if you're considering buying a home, townhome, or a condo. What are the differences between buying a home, townhome, or a condo?
So usually, when considering a home, let's say it's a detached home, a single family, people would say, because there's different verbiage for this all over the country and all over our area, right?
Yeah.
So a single family, right, versus a townhome, right, and then versus a condo, right. So typically, in real estate, terminology, you're gonna say fee simple, and really what that means usually is that you own the structure and the land under it, and you're gonna find that usually in single families and townhomes usually, right? And in condos, you own the unit, right, and the rights to own the unit and rights that come along with it, but you don't own the building and you don't own the land under the building usually, right?
On a house, we know that you're in charge of, maintaining your lawn, the common areas, right? Your front yard, your backyard,
Driveway.
your driveway,
Sidewalk.
sidewalk too.
So with detached homes, single family homes, the maintenance is pretty much you maintain, like you say, the yard, the structure itself. Anything goes wrong with it, this is your responsibility. You could have home warranties that can help protect that. You do get insurance that help protect that as well to a certain degree, but you need to really understand your insurance policy. You need to understand your home warranty because they're all different. Another big thing is that with these different single, with townhomes and with condos, some of them come with condo fees and homeowners associations where they have different responsibilities as well. So it really depends on the specific property.
Yeah, and that could be homeowners association is typically like you said, it comes with townhomes and condos, right? So I feel like this is a lot something that a lot of people don't really know much about, HOA fees, right? Homeowners association. So let's talk a little bit about that. What does HOA cover?
Real quick, they do sometimes come on detached homes, so it really depends on.
Good thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And some neighborhoods, some houses do have a HOA, and
These are newer developed.
Yeah.
And HOA for everybody is homeowners association.
Yeah.
Right. So you own the property, you own the land too, right? Because it's still fee simple. It's just that there's a homeowners association in place, and basically these were created and kept in place for property value. At the end of the day, maintain the properties looking the same at a certain quality, at a certain level. To maintain property value, right? Yeah. And so that's a homeowners association here in Maryland, or like say the DMV. You're gonna find HOAs, and you're also gonna find condo association fees or condo fees, right? Yeah. And typically, townhomes are associated with HOAs and condos with condo fees, but there are scenarios where they can have both. Right.
Okay.
An HOA and a condo fee. Right.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit about that. What is it like? Let's say, what is the main difference between a HOA fee and a condo fee?
So it's not that they're so they're different because of what you own, right? But in principle, they kind of do the same things. Like you were saying, you can typically expect these HOAs or condo fees to cover that they're going to come and remove the snow when it snows in this area, right? They're going to take out the trash. I mean, you take it out to the main bin, but they're going to empty the trash for you, right? Because at your home, you have to do that. You have to put out the trash on the curb and everything.
You got to remember every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, whatever days those are.
Right? So they're going to do things like that. If you have amenities like pools, gyms, right? Business centers, things like that, then this association usually takes care, gives these places maintenance, right? Keeps everything in order, keeps everything running, because in condos you're going to have parks, pools, like I said, shared spaces.
Right.
So who's responsible? You see what I'm saying? Right. And that's usually why you have an association that takes care of these.
Right.
Yeah. Correct. And a lot of times with these associations, they kind of have control over your property to a certain extent.
In a way, yeah.
For example, if you want a red door, because some homeowner associations or condo associations that will not allow that. If you want to have a picket fence, a certain type of fence, they won't allow that. You want to have a different color siding. So you got to make sure that you are in compliance with your homeowners association and your condos, making sure that you are, within their rights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
And that's one of the cons, right? With HOAs, right?
big
They're kind of like you don't have full like authority over how and what you can do with your property.
Sometimes.
You have to follow their guidelines to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
When somebody's considering between like let's say they have they're thinking about buying, right? And they don't really know what the big difference is between owning a home, a condo, like what lifestyle fits a certain property. In my opinion, I think that a single family home can be for somebody that has a family or is starting a family, wants to their own private space. A townhome could be with somebody who wants to own a single family but doesn't have the budget for it. And a townhome, I mean, in a condo could be for somebody who is living a lifestyle more of like they don't really have time to worry about like mowing the lawn, scooping out snow, right?
Yeah,
what do
maybe,
you guys
man.
think?
That's the beautiful thing about real estate, man. It's
Yeah.
not a one size fits all, man. So lifestyle definitely has something, it's a big factor when choosing one versus the other, right? So yeah, lifestyle. But I think right now, Carlos, what's happening more is because of the higher prices and because of the higher rates compared to a few years ago. With people, it's more about budget, right? So it's like, hey, I want the single family, but man, like that'll stretch me out.
Yeah.
All right. So then now you're looking at other options instead of the single family. You're looking at townhomes because generally, it depends, right? And this is all subjective, but it depends. But generally, if you stick to the same area, single family homes are going to be more expensive than townhomes, and townhomes are generally going to be more expensive than condos. And obviously there's exceptions, right? But technically, or usually that's how it is, right? So right now what's happening because of the rates and stuff like that, it's like maybe you got priced out, or maybe you just don't want to stretch your budget that far. So now you're looking, okay, what other options do I have? And this is where buyers start looking at other options like townhomes and condos, and then they find out, oh, they come with these restrictions and things I didn't know about. And then that's when your lifestyle plays into it. Like, oh, are those guidelines, restrictions, how are those going to impact my lifestyle? And does that work for me? Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, what's amenities, right? What are some of the things that come with and amenities are more things that, in my perspective, they come more with like when you live in a condo, when you live in like townhomes. Sometimes they may have like maybe a community pool,
Rec center,
right? Condos,
parks,
exactly. Condos, you're looking at, depending on what community, you're looking at gyms, you're looking at Starbucks, right? If you're,
One of the big things about condos is sometimes they pay all your utilities.
Oh, that's a plus.
Yeah, that too.
So,
That's a plus.
But it comes with a catch, right? Because these condos that pay all utilities, they tend to have a much higher condo fee.
Yeah.
So you may see that the property is being sold for $200,000, $300,000, but the condo fee could be $1,000, $1,500. So you got to incorporate that into your monthly payment, and then that changes your whole DTI and what you qualify for.
Yeah.
So
So
it's a big one.
So I look at it, Carlos, like just going on a little personal rant here. So I've been blessed to own and live in all three different types of homes, right? A single family, townhouse, and a condo, right? And honestly, man, I liked all of them, right? And it for different reasons, though, right? So, and the funny thing is, I went through them at different stages in my life. Like you said, once I started getting a family, needed more space, got to go for, usually detached homes could be bigger, things like that. But just on a personal note, I grew up in a single family home, right? So I had never lived in a condo situation or in an apartment. I think we lived in apartments, but I was too young to remember, right? So I don't have any experience with apartments and things like that. But just on a personal note, so I'm living at this condo, nice place, man. We got a good deal on it, and I was loving life, right? And just one day, I dropped my son off at school, and I came home, and I'm like, man, I got a busy day today, appointments, the whole deal. And I walk up to my door, and there's a sign on my door, and it says, hey, plumbing issue, no water, and we don't know when it's coming back. And I'm like, oh man, I'm all sweaty. You know what I mean? I need to shower up. I need to get ready, man. And it just hit me like, oh man, like that was just the first thing I experienced there that was like a big negative for me. Like I wasn't in control of the water, man.
Right.
Another thing was, and this could be different at different places. This is just my experience at this particular condo. Another thing is they control when the heat goes on. They control when the AC comes on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right now, right? In most places, they probably don't have, I don't think they have the AC on yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if they do. And today's gonna be 90 degrees here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can be hot today and you can't turn it on. There's no AC.
You gotta go buy you a fan.
Yeah. I mean, of course there's solutions, there's alternatives, right?
Yeah.
But these are just things to consider. But it's also beautiful when it snows. And I'm looking out there and I see it, 2-3 inches are piling up, and you don't have to go out there and shovel it. You know what I mean? So there's pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons, right? Yeah. So in my experience, if I was a homeowner, right? If I was somebody who is considering stepping into home ownership, me personally, right, knowing what I know about real estate, I would, and we're gonna talk about each opinions, right? I would go with owning, if this is all saying that I have the budget for it, right? Mm-hmm. I would go for a single family home. Why? Because of me wanting to build wealth, right? Me wanting to set myself up to be able to create a real estate portfolio, right? Because I know with homeownership, right? Anybody who knows, who's seen any type of like real estate TikTok or podcasts about real estate investing, right? The easiest and most beginner friendly way to start that is house hacking, right? Let's say you buy a house that that has a basement. You could rent out the basement. You could rent out the room, right? If it's only you or you and your girlfriend, right? You live in one part of the house and you rent out the rest. That way, you're helping yourself with the mortgage payment at the end of the month, right? Let's say your mortgage payment is $2,500 and you're charging $1,300 for either you rent by the room or you rent the basement out, and you're helping cover a good portion of your monthly rent. So that's subsidizing your monthly payment at the end of the month. That way you're only coming out of pocket and you're building equity, and you're owning your own piece of real estate at the end of the day.
Yep.
But you can pull that off in every type of, it's just the best vehicle to do it is with the single family. But you can pull that off on every level.
Of course.
I mean, I look at it like this, kind of like what you're trying to get on, and I kind of want to piggyback on that, is that it's the ROI, right?
Yeah.
The return on your investment
That's
is
what it's about.
it's much stronger in those single family homes because you have a lot less restrictions.
Right.
Without those HOAs. Like one of the big things that kind of like a little story time is that I had a client that owned a condo, right? And I think it was in Suitland or somewhere like that, right? And he'd been living there for quite some time, maybe about 5 to 7 years. When he bought the home, it was FHA approved, right? So when you have most people buying property, especially condos, is like first time home buyers, they are FHA, they got FHA loans. What ended up happening is that they end up going into the rears. People stop paying their condo fees, right? And when that happened, now this property wasn't FHA approved no more. So what ended up happening was he was no longer able to sell his house for FHA. And then it ended up getting worse. What ended up happening is that the property started to lose its value, and he had to take a loss on the property. So he had a terrible ROI. This is not always the case, but it's something that you need to keep in mind when you're buying these condos and when you are buying homes with HOAs. So that's one of the things, the ROI.
Yeah, and just to piggyback, because I find this is a big one, right? Just to piggyback on that, you will have when you're buying into one of these places, you will have the opportunity, once you're under contract, you will have a time period, a time window, a frame or whatever, to do your due diligence where you will receive a package, right? Where it gives you the financials on this place. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Most people don't look at that.
No, people just go, okay, that's fine. Look at the financials. Because, this is what it comes down to. At the end of the day, remember, people are paying this fee to maintain the whole property, right? The whole condo complex, let's say, right? Okay. And this is typically what happens is people are disgruntled or they're just unhappy about something, like me with the AC, right? Or you call maintenance about, hey, fix the kitchen sink, and they're just not coming out, or they're not coming out as fast as you wanted, or they came out, or this is the third time they came out. So usually what people say is, you know what? I'm paying them this money and I'm not getting any value for it. I'm just gonna, because it's separate, right? And just to make this point, what you owe the bank is one thing for your loan, right? And what you're paying into the association every month, that's a whole different fee. That's not part of the loan. You might pay it all together as a mortgage payment together, but it's not part of the loan, right? This is a monthly fee you're paying the association. This has nothing to do with your loan.
Correct.
So usually what happens is people figure this out and they say, hey, man, like the AC never works in this place. You know what? I'm not paying these people anymore. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to continue to pay my mortgage, so no one's going to kick me out, right? But I'm going to stop paying this association because you know what? I just don't like that lady, or I don't like that guy, or whatever it is. Look, a million reasons for not paying the association fee, right? So this is what Carlos was talking about. So what happens is, okay, don't pay it. Nobody's going to kick you out. But doesn't mean you're not being charged this money. Like, you're still being charged. This money's accruing.
Interest.
Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? So this is what happens. And this is where sometimes, okay, so what happens is they measure this, right? Out of how many units? If there's 100 units, right? Out of all these 100 units, how many people or how many units owners are actually paying the fee? Right, on a monthly basis, right? And what happens is on the lending side, like Carlos was talking about, there's a certain threshold, right? And this is different from different lenders and different guidelines and things like that. But there's a certain percentage, right? So let's say 20% of the 100 units, right? So 20 of them aren't paying this fee anymore. And that's what I'm saying. Once it hits 20%, maybe you can't get this certain type of loan anymore to buy this place because they'll call it's delinquent. Like, too many people are not paying the fee. What's going to happen eventually? Maintenance you can't pay the maintenance guy, so then the grass is not getting cut. Property value goes down. So it all affects. It all affects, right? So that's the thing. With these type of properties, there is that side of it, and you need to have a good agent, a good lender to look at these numbers, right, and advise you on it, right? Not only because you can afford it, doesn't mean it's a great investment. Like Carlos was saying, you could get a pretty crappy ROI if you don't know what you're buying into when you're buying into one of these places, right? Not to scare anybody. Usually these are great because, like I said, these are actually, the intention was to maintain and raise property value, not to bring it down. Yeah. But that is the negative side of it. When people don't pay into these things, it starts showing. You start seeing the property deteriorate, maintenance go down, property value goes down, and that affects you as a seller, right? Well, who's able to buy this now? Because, like I said, that affects the type of loans that you can use to buy the place.
Yeah, right. That's true. And let me get back on that, because actually another
it's
side effect of that is when people don't pay, guess what? Your rate goes up, increase. The HOA tends to go up.
Yeah,
HOA
they got to make up for it somehow, right?
They got to make up for it. And who's going to make it up for?
Yeah,
the people who is paying it,
they're actually
right?
paying it, yeah.
So that's another big factor when it comes down to HOAs and condo fees. So you got to just be totally aware what you're doing and what you're getting yourself into when you're making the biggest purchase, biggest investment of your life.
Yeah, and the condo fee could be in your favor. It could be, it could be something that you didn't consider.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're looking at Zillow and things like that, they don't have the right one in there.
Yeah.
Or they don't even have it in there, and then you're like, oh, I could get this for X price, and then you find out, oh, well, it's another $700 a month on top of that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's on top of
Whatever
your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
So if you have a mortgage payment of, let's say, $2,200 a month,
$500,
and you have a HOA fee or a condo fee of
$500,
$500, that's $2,700 a month, and that could be the difference of, that could be the make it or break it for you, whether you're able to afford this place. So those are definitely things to consider when, looking to buy either a condo, townhouse, or a single family home.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off that, right? The higher, typically, the higher the fee, the more you should get with that. Yeah. Meaning you should have lots of amenities, and
of course
they probably include the utilities for this place too. So sometimes, like, it depends. Like we said, lifestyle, man. Like if you're a person that's never at home, then utilities being included, maybe that's not really a big plus, right? But let's say you're at home a lot, and that you take care of, you babysit or something like that, and it's like utilities is going to be a flat fee every month. Man, that might be a plus.
Wow.
You
know what? I'm glad you said that.
I'm just saying, man.
Here go another thing. Sometimes these condo associations, they don't allow you to rent it out.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes they don't allow you to do Airbnb.
They don't allow you to sublease.
They don't let you sublease. So these are all factors that you got to know, because you may went in there as an investment property. Oh, I want to get this condo to rent it out on Airbnb. I wanted to do it to rent it out to some friends or family.
You didn't read the fine print.
You didn't read the packet that you just mentioned that you got. And now you into this investment and you can't even do what your game plan was. So you just got to be totally aware. And this is when it comes down to having a great realtor and a great lender to let you know what's going on.
Yeah. And also being upfront, right? Being upfront with your real estate agent about what you want to accomplish with this property. If it's just for you, ask the appropriate questions, right? And also it's, like you said, Carlos said, being working with a great real estate agent in order for them to inform you, right, on the things that you might have not even thought about, right? But if you're like if you're trying to, let's say, like Carlos said, you want to Airbnb this property out, it's important for you to know the fine print, because if the property, you make a commitment, you sign that agreement, that leasing agreement, and it's for a year, whatever the time frame is, and you come to find out you've already ordered everything, right? Couches, TVs, furniture, and you come to find out last minute, hey, like you can't sublease, you can't do that here.
And they'll find you.
Yeah,
they will find you. Another thing too is that, let's just say you have a home business, you have a babysitting business, right? And you want to go in there, but guess what? In this HOA, they already got 5 people that got babysitting business.
And they're maxed out.
They're maxed out, right? And now you can't go start your business, which you've been using to supply your family, to feed your family, and you can't even start your business. So you got to know these type of things. And if you're not with a good agent, I mean, this could be detrimental to your whole livelihood.
Yeah,
you got to know these type of things.
Yeah, and do your research before anything, right? You should always walk into whatever situation knowing at least the bare minimum, right? Knowing the right questions to ask, So this is important stuff. So guys, anything else that we are missing here that we are not covering?
I mean, when people are considering, I guess the differences, man, like you said, it's about lifestyle. I think it comes down to that. Preference and the motivation, like we always say, right? What are you trying to accomplish here, right? Because you can look at it like it's Monopoly, man. You got to start with the little house, then get the bigger house, then get the hotel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can look at it like that. I'll be honest, from an investing point of view, they're all good. The single family home, the vehicle there is a little more powerful, and I would say that comes down to privacy. You're gonna have a little more privacy in a single family home in terms of, let's say it's your land, right? So you're going to be able to have that barbecue whenever you want. You don't have to schedule it or running through somebody or whatever it is, right? Or the kids can run around all they want. And there's nobody's putting complaints, or if they are, they're going to you. Right. Right. Then let's talk about, like you said, you want to, flexibility. You want to run a business out of the garage or the basement. That's your basement and garage, man. Nobody's going to say nothing.
And it's a tax write-off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Or you could do addition,
That's what I was going to say. The ROI, because you can add, right? You can add, you can take away, you can modify. And these are the limitations when it comes to you buy into associations and, just communities. You can't really modify and add, make it specific, customize it to you, because they're trying to maintain, a status quo for the area, as opposed to your single family, man, that's yours, In Spanish, we say, hacer y deshacer, right? You could, you could do whatever you want with it, basically. You have lifestyle like me. You're right. I'm Hispanic. A lot of the consideration goes to, hey man, you know how it is. We work hard, but on Saturday, on the weekends, man, we want to kick back, man. You know what I mean. We want to have the family over,
carne asada,
and all that. And you know what's gonna happen at the condo or the townhouse association? It's not going to be a lot of parking. you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm just telling you my experience, right?
And those are things like, people consider like,
I mean, what's your lifestyle?
I wouldn't, if you like, exactly lifestyle, right? If you're somebody who enjoys, being the host of, of events, like, if you like having people over, that's something to consider when you're looking for a home or a place to call a house, a home, right? With a townhouse, you could get away with that, limited space, right? Because limited parking too.
I mean, some places they tell you got to be out by a certain time.
Yeah, that too. Or you get towed. Or you get towed.
That's what I'm saying.
And then like, this is why I'm so for like owning a home, single family home, right? You know, because you get so many more benefits, right? You know, you're able to have people over, you know, more parking, you know, you're able to add value to your house,
yes,
you know, easier, right?
Yeah,
it's just a flexibility, more flexibility, in my opinion.
And you'll get a better ROI. You'll probably appreciate it better too. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yes.
You know, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Here's an interesting call I had one day because I think some people might look at it like this, or maybe this is just a specific girl. She calls me up. We're talking about condos because really this is what fits her lifestyle, right? But she didn't like that, the ROI, the financial side of it. She's a smart girl. She was, you know, she did all the research. And
Yeah, that's good.
And I mean, that's what I think buyers should be doing. All the information's out there. So
this is why we are putting out these episodes, this content,
man.
guys.
And call us up, right?
It's to keep you guys informed, right? To give you guys a different perspective of things you should consider because, you know, at some point, whether you're months, years, you know, away from actually taking action and becoming a homeowner, whether you're getting your money together, whether you're getting your credit score together, you know, these are things that, you know, by listening to these episodes, these podcasts, right? And don't forget to share this episode with somebody who is in the process or thinking about it, right? To get educated, right? Do your research beforehand. That way, like I said, you know the right questions to ask, right? When you're in that process. But back to what you were saying, right?
So she says, "Hey Renee, look, I you know, I understand what you're saying. You know, I understand why I have to do it. But look, honestly, she was like, my personal problem is I'm looking at the stats, Renee, and you know, she's like, look, in particular, this one condo, she gave me an example. She said, look, they bought it for 140 something, and look, they lived there 7 years, and they only sold it for 160 something. She's like, so they only made $20,000, Renee? And I'm like, no, you're looking at it wrong, right?
They made less than that.
What do you mean?
Because then you have to pay like
No. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. See, you're kind of thinking about it the same way she was thinking about it, right? So listen. So think about this though. She's thinking like it only basically appreciated $20,000 over 7 years. Okay, she's not wrong, right? Technically, all right, but it's when she goes to sell that in 7 years, it's not that she's only getting $20,000. You see what I'm saying? Remember what happened to that 140 that they paid for it over these last 7 years?
Equity
that went down.
You got it, buddy.
big.
That's been going down the whole time.
Yeah.
And even if the price of the condo, yes, a condo typically in our area is not going to. Typically, I say because look in the DMV, man, someone's gonna be like, oh, but my condo's $3 million. Like, I mean, it's all relative, right? But
that also location, right?
Well,
location matters.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If I have a condo in the better part of the area, and then I have a single family in the worst part of the area, of
course.
there might be what I'm saying isn't gonna be 100% stay true, but typically, generally, there's like I said, the detach is gonna appraise,
it appreciates more
faster, everything, right? But what she's not looking at is the whole time she's renting, right? That money's gone.
Yeah,
every month gone.
That monthly payment
for those
is going
7 years, everything they were paying into is gone. Like, you know what I mean? The person that was in the condo for 7 years was paying down a debt of $140,000. So let's say they paid it down to $90,000. Let's say that, right? In 7 years, right? That's probably not the right math, but let's just say for this example, hypothetically, 90,000, right? And now they're gonna sell for 160, or they sold for 160 something. So the difference now there is $70,000.
Big difference.
You see what I'm saying? You're getting that money that you paid, you're getting it back basically. You know what I mean? Now the appreciation was only like 20 grand, right? Over those 7 years. True, facts. But you're also getting that money you paid into it.
I look at the appreciation. That's icing on the cake.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the cherry on top for paying where you live at.
Yeah, and I don't think people. It's a good thing. People don't know the difference. That appreciation is one thing and equity is a different thing. Like appreciation is the amount that the property is going up in value year after year.
Yeah.
And equity is the difference between what you owe on the property and what you've paid down.
Got it.
The equity is the cake.
So you see how she was confusing it?
Yeah.
And then and she's a smart girl, but it's just the way you look at things because you always look at it like, hey, the money I paid, that's gone.
Yeah.
And that when you're paying rent, that's the truth. But no, when you own something and you're paying down that debt, it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what people have to think about considering things.
And this go into the differences between renting and owning.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest key factors,
Yeah.
you know, that you should take into consideration. Like if you've been, and when you really do the math, right? If people really
It's
do the math
scary,
at
bro.
home, right?
It's
If you've been
scary.
renting for, let's say, 10 years, 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you've been, and those monthly payments are like what, $2,000.
$2,000, yeah, right now.
Do the math. What have you paid over
2,500
those
right now.
5 years? You know, that's all money that you've just freely given away to somebody. You've helped somebody pay off their
Gone.
mortgage.
Bye-bye.
You know,
that
and
right
you're
there-
not seeing any of that money back.
None of it.
That's a
You
That's
know.
a whole nother episode in itself.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really breaks down what are you gaining from home ownership. You know, I mean, not even talking about the tax write off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're not even touching that.
Yeah.
But I also want to touch on this part about homeowners association and condos for the most part is that you as a homeowner could be involved with the homeowner association.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So it's very important.
Make
for you
changes.
it's very
Yeah.
important for you to attend the
That's
meetings.
very interesting.
Right? And not only that, it's I believe the president is voted upon, right? So you got to make sure you attend these meetings and go see what's happening, why your fees going up, all the different benefits, pros and cons to your homeowners association. So that's one thing that you got to really pay close attention to when you're getting involved.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But you see, just to reel it back in, you see her, she's renting, right? And she's going through all the options. Condo fit her lifestyle because this is a young lady who makes a lot of money, wants to travel, right? She's single, so she doesn't want to fix the kitchen sink and things
Yeah.
like that, right?
My type of girl.
Well, I'm saying, man, balling, bro. So condo lifestyle wise made sense for her, but financially she was stuck there. You know what I mean? And I get that. So just to the people that are considering a condo, there is value. Just owning a property is
Yeah.
always going to be a little more valuable if in the long term. And if you're looking at it as an investment, it's just
Yeah.
going to be more valuable than renting.
It's
That's
still
the bottom
good.
line.
You still get a good return on investment, but
Yeah.
it's just not going to be
Compared,
compared to a single family
Yeah.
home. It's not going to be the same, right?
Yeah. So then I said, well, if you want that, all right, let's go for the single family.
Yeah.
Now, but that comes with I got to redo the driveway. I got to pay for the roof. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it comes.
You got to
with,
put
know what I
you got to put equity into it.
But when if for every dollar, like I said, in the house, when you put money up, you're not fixing someone else's, your own house. You're adding value to your home.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the difference.
Yep.
That's the thing, right? You don't the money that you put into a home that you own, a single family. You see that money back. It's not a loss,
Yeah.
right? Because that's adding to the value of the home. When it comes time for you to sell it, you're gonna see that money back. Because the house looks different from when you bought it. And that just adds value to it. So that money that you've been putting in throughout those years, right? It adds up at the end of the time. At the end of the day, when it comes time for you to sell it.
You know what? And I also want to touch upon this as when you own a condo, you have to keep in mind of your neighbors, right? So, for example, let's just say you're on the bottom floor, right, and your neighbors above you, they had a leak,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Their water heater leak, or they got kids and they them stuff the toilet full of toys and they keep flushing it.
Oh,
right?
and then the running around,
And then right.
That's what I had in the condo.
Right. So now
Running on top.
you got this leak coming into your house. It caused damage, right? Now, how does that affect your insurance, right? There is master insurance policies that comes with condos, but you need to really keep in mind of what's happening when you have these type of issues when you get in condos.
Yeah.
So it's another thing to keep in mind when you purchasing these properties.
Yeah, man. So they're all great vehicles for investment, for
Yeah.
living, to fit your lifestyle. It's just that understand there are pros and cons with all the different type of properties.
These are all important things to keep in mind, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, if you take these things into consideration, if you are thinking about making the leap into home ownership and you're considering, maybe you didn't even think, maybe you just thought that you had to start with a single family home, But now knowing this, maybe, like Renee said, lifestyle, right? Maybe a single family home doesn't fit your lifestyle, even though the return on investment is bigger, right? Maybe your lifestyle right now is a condo and it fits best, for a condo. Maybe it fits a townhome, right? Because maybe you just don't need that big of a space of a single family home, So these are just things to consider, right?
And
So with
just
that
to
being,
interject,
Yeah.
real quick, there are, especially in Maryland, I can
Yeah.
speak that with experience. There are, if you're afraid of that association, but you like the townhouse, there are options of townhomes or duplexes that don't have an
Yeah,
association.
that's good. That's
See what I'm
good.
saying?
Yeah.
So not all townhomes have associations.
Yeah.
Most will.
And the fees aren't all the same, right?
Yeah.
That's why we didn't say like, HOA fees are this flat.
Yeah.
It's not a flat fee.
Yeah.
It depends. It varies by location and it
What
And
they
varies
what
by
they do,
They
what they're
change
Yeah.
year by year.
Oh
right?
yeah, they go
and
up.
they change, right?
Taxes.
Okay, so these are just things to consider, right? So anything else to add, fellas, before we
I mean, pretty much like I feel as if you learn something, if you gain some knowledge, some good information from this video, from this podcast, share it. Let us know how you feel. Leave a comment. Subscribe to us because we are always sharing more information that's going to benefit the consumer, benefit the people. This is why we're the People's Real Estate Podcast.
Yes, sir. All right, Renee, anything else to add?
Speak to a professional, man. You know what I mean? If you're considering buying, just speak to a professional. They're going to be able to walk you through the different options, what's best for you. And in my experience, it just comes down to that dollar amount, right? At the end of the day, what's that monthly? How much do I need to get into this? And based on that, you're usually going to determine, what type of property you're going to buy. And then you can start researching that property, and how it makes sense for you.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. And my thing is I tell this to all my friends, everybody that I know, stop renting. Start thinking about home ownership, right? If you want to create a foundation to set yourself and your kids for the future, start thinking about owning a home, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe you don't have all the money to be able to start with a home. Maybe you can start with a condo. Maybe you can start with a townhouse. But it's better. Any of these three options is better than keep renting, right? Like I said, rent just, like we've talked about, rent just goes out the window. That's 100% interest. If you're looking at the interest rate, you're paying 100% interest rate on rent payment.
Facts.
All of that money is being thrown away at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, guys, if you have any questions, any concerns, if you want to talk to us one-on-one, please feel free to book a free consultation, a free Zoom. All the links are going to be in the description. Don't forget to follow us on our social medias. Everything's going to be, all the information is going to be in the description. And if you have any feedback for us, any feedback is much appreciated. Let us know how we did. Did we cover enough? Did you find value in what we talked about? And if you have any topics for us, please comment down below. And we will see you guys in the next episode.